But I actually lost my job because that it was a startup and they actually shut it down after 1 month that I've started. The funny thing happened that I met my new co-founder and I actually met him on Bumble.
But you reached out for romantic interests
No,
business
no, obviously not. When I saw my first generative AI model, the mind was blown. Like the first major project I think we did was the AI for HR consulting. When the calculator was introduced, people were actually protesting against the calculator.
Is it?
And the most importantly, the data is not going out of their organization.
How is that?
They also told us if we leak this data, the share prices might go down.
Today we have with us Shreyas Karanjkar. He is the co-founder and CEO of Axia. It's a startup that is heavily into developing AI application for all sorts of companies of all sizes. Shreyas, how are you doing today?
Yeah, doing great. It's been really nice. Thanks for inviting me to this podcast, and really looking forward to exchange value and knowledge with you.
Lovely. Excellent. So, Shreyas, let's start with the simple stuff. Could you just walk us through your entrepreneurial journey? Where does it start? Where did the businessman in you first woke up?
So it actually goes back to when I was in 12th, around 17, 18 years old. I always had a interest in doing something of my own, my business. And I used to tell this to my parents as well, like I will start my business and I will do something. But never really started when I was in school. And but after my 12th, I had a group of friends who were doing something. Some of them were like 10 years older to me. Some of them like 2, 3, 4 years older to me, and they were doing something. So that's where I've started my first business. You can say we really did not register a company, but it was into the freight forwarding, and we used to do some commodity trading as well, right? And I tried that for like 6-7 months or almost a year. But after that, I thought, it's not working, and I think I should take some time and just continue my education. So after that, I took my admission in B.Sc for Bachelor of Science in B.K. Birla College in Kalyan only. During the college days, like in my undergrad days, I did not really thought about doing anything. I was just doing the college. I actually wanted to be an astrophysicist, or you can say astronomer. I am still an amateur astronomer now, connected with the astronomy clubs in Mumbai, and doing amateurly. But after my bachelor's, I got to know that there is an interesting course that my college was starting, which is Masters or MSc in AI. And I really thought of astronomy is cool, but I think I will just keep it for as a hobby, or you can say amateur. Then after that, I just took admission, didn't really think anything. Fortunately, I got the admission for MSc as well. I thought I'm not from the IT background. I only know the Jupiter as a planet and not the IDE, which you use in the data science. But then I started for the first year or so. I was just figuring out what is IT, what is a web development, what is a back end, front end, and all those things, right? And what is again, my course was specialized in AI, so we were learning a lot of machine learning, deep learning. And those days there were no, generative AI was there actually. When I saw my first generative AI model, the mind was blown. Like nobody really, it was not popular, it was there.
When was this?
It was in 2021, you can say mid 2021, or when the COVID period was there. So people used to call it, like still it is like generative adversarial network, where it's an image generation generic model. You can GAN, yes, GAN. But anyway, in that 2 years journey, I learned a lot. I was actively doing internships. I started my internships after 1 year, and I did 3-4 internships. I actually got my job as well. I had 2-3 offers, but I've committed to one company, and I don't know, I think that was actually good that happened to me right now, I think. But I actually lost my job because that it was a startup and they actually shut it down after 1 month that I've started. But yeah, it was a shock, and I didn't even receive the salary though. But yeah, I was like, okay. Then I had another offer from Bhubaneswar. I didn't know like I actually asked them where is Bhubaneswar, and it was somewhere in Orissa, and I was like, I am never going to go there. Like I never actually in all my career, I actually spent all my career in my hometown only, because it's like in Mumbai, and you don't really need to. People come to Mumbai, we don't go, right? Usually that's sorts, and you have all kind of exposures over here, right? So I was like, I will just continue this, and I had a friend who was actually doing her own marketing agency business since last 2 years, and she's actually even younger than me, 2 years. So she started around when she was 18, and she encouraged me to start an IT company. Like already had thought, like when I was in college, I was thinking like I will start some data science company one day. And I thought this multiple times, but I didn't really know how can we do it. What are the things that need? How can we get the customers and all, right? But like I did not think a lot of things. I just started, and we really started with like a website development project. And and she actually left the company within 1 month again. And after she left, the funny thing happened that I met my new co-founder, and I actually met him on Bumble. So Bumble is a dating app, but you can actually do the business networking over there as well. Okay, so there are three sections. Yeah, yeah. So I was exploring all the sections, and I was like, yeah, this person, his profile was completely Japanese, and he is a Indian guy from Pune. I was like, it was interesting. So we actually got connected. We had a very short conversation on Bumble, and then we just switched to WhatsApp. And he's still my co-founder now. It's been like almost 2 years now.
But you reached out for romantic interest?
No, obviously not. Like I'm straight. So that's why our chat was really like, hi bro, what are you doing? Okay, let's chat on WhatsApp. And then we connected online, and he was in Japan back then.
Okay.
He is 3-4 years older than me. He was an AI engineer, right? And after that, we actually did business online for a year. We didn't even met for a year. We actually met in December 2024.
Oh.
Right. Yeah. So and
it was a long distance relationship, so to speak.
A long distance co-foundership. So that's how we started. You can say like that. This is I can say my career is still. You can say this is just a warm up period. It's been not even 24 complete months. It's almost 22 months.
And so how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I'm 25. Back then I was like 23 or 24 something.
Okay. So you're essentially just starting out.
Starting out, yeah, just out of college, like not even 2 years out of college.
Anyway, so yeah, coming back to your journey, is there like any specific project in Axia that you feel was an absolute booster for you, either in terms of just finances or even in terms of innovation or in terms of differentiation in this industry?
Like the first major project I think we did was the AI for HR consulting. And from the standpoint of core AI engineering, we can say like we did a lot of software engineering in that, and we also did a lot of AI engineering in that in terms of application, right? So AI engineering has 3 different parts, but there is an application part in it, like which you just use the models, fine tune them, or do the rag on that and just customize it for the software and customers to use, or you can say your clients to use. So I can go in bit into that detail about the product. So the problem was the customer came to us, and it was like they are a, can you give the background? So they are a consulting company who is specializing in HR, and they do the learning and development for the big customers like Kohler, TCS, Infosys, and many other. Like they have almost all the MNCs as their customers, right? And they were using some platform to do the learning and development assessment. So they are running assessment centers from their companies for their clients.
And this L&D initiative they're doing for their own teams, their own staff?
For their
clients'
customers.
Staff.
So they are essentially running assessment centers.
Got it.
You can say, right? And this company, the big MNCs, they do the contract with these kind of consulting companies for their, and the problem was it is a kind of tedious process to get all the candidates, like assess them, data collection, then proper assessment. It's kind of a
It's a very long, tedious
2 to 4
process.
days process.
Right.
And the candidates are number of candidates are anywhere between 50 to 100, or like as low as 20 to 100, you can say.
Right.
Depending upon the, like, they have cycles over the years, like
Okay.
how much this year they want to promote. So
Got it.
this is mainly for their internal employees,
Right.
for their customers internal employees.
Yeah.
So if, for example, if the client is TCS, so our client will do this consulting for the TCS
Got it.
and for specific department. But the problem was they used to have a lot of complications in creating report, and it is very tedious process for one candidate. For the assessment report used to take like 3-4 hours to do.
Oh.
And you can imagine, for even if for the 20 candidates, it's a huge amount of time and inefficiency, you can say, right? And again, the data collection process was also not apt, because these guys are not the tech company, they are a HR company, right?
Okay.
So they don't know how to do the tech. So we essentially, first of all, we solved the problem in 2 steps. First, we did traditional software engineering, where we centralized everything, all the data collection and everything that they used to use different Google Forms or Microsoft Forms.
Mhm.
Now they just use their own platform.
Mhm.
They give this own platform to their customers as well to use.
Mhm.
And second thing, we introduced AI features. So first was from the candidate side, to create the assessments.
Okay.
Actually, for the assessor side. So
Okay.
assessor and these companies people, they create a lot of different assessment on different, like different industries, different strength, different competencies.
Right.
And this assessment has to be created very properly.
Right.
Again, this is a tedious process. And the second, we solved the problem for the report generation part.
Mhm.
Where for one candidate, if you think about 20 pages report, it's a use, like if you.
Right.
So now the feature is basically you have to select the industry type, competency type, and there are 3-4 more filters, like what role you want to assess for, and other details, right? But these 3 are the main. In those filters, if you once you select those filters, the questions content will automatically be generated using LLMs, and then assessor can just check if these questions are right or wrong.
Okay.
Then the second part, where we once this assessment is done, when they go in their on premise, they also have to do role plays, right?
Okay.
So we are also thinking to add features where AI based role plays can be done. Like let's say
Okay.
if there is an interview, the AI avatar will ask the questions and all.
So this role play, this avatar thing, you have already implemented?
No. So this is an inline feature that we are
Okay,
trying. So
it's-
again, from smallest feature to complicated feature, or simple to complicated. But to keep it simple, so they have a lot of ideas,
Right.
right? But it's just time to implement. Yeah. So the report generation feature is something once assessors have assessed everything, they have given the scores, they have logged their data. Now they just have to click and generate the report.
So if I understand this correctly, a process of creating questionnaires that would take, say, between 2 to 3 days for them to create and collate, that process with the use of AI, you guys have now basically scrunched it down to a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Then the process of checking all the answers for all of the questions by all the candidates, that used to take anywhere between 8 to 10 days for a 20 people group. That you have basically again scrunched down to what, maybe a couple of minutes or a couple of hours?
Couple of days, because the so they have different processes, they do assessment for different people, so they still have to go to the customer's premise and do these things. But you can say the back end time is really cut off. Like grunt work is almost over.
Okay.
In terms of grunt work, they have achieved efficiency around maybe around 90%, because they don't have to go through the data and create the
Got
report.
it.
They just have to assess, and in terms of report creation as well.
So essentially, the process that used to take 8 to 10 days in terms of checking the papers, grading the papers, assessing them, creating reports, all of that has now been sort of zipped into a couple of hours at the most.
Yeah, right.
So now here comes a part where you have saved time for them, but all of these AI generated, AI related activities sound very token consuming. So compare that to paying for these 5-10 assessors and their time. How are you able to achieve sort of the financial optimization? Are you cheaper in terms of tokens than the assessors themselves?
So actually, what we can think about is their business model is basically they are using it as a SaaS product,
Okay.
and it's their product. It's the customer's product. They can charge their clients so that they have a proper business model. They can take the cost in accounts of the infrastructure cost. You can also say maintenance cost, every cost, and they can come up with the plans, or maybe they can add into their consulting cost. And in a way, if they set up a proper business model, then cost is actually nothing. And if you just talk in terms of token consumption, if the textual data is being generated, then I don't think it's very expensive at the moment, even if you use OpenAI. And again, we have actually tried different models. Like initially we started with open source model. We actually tried Llama, then Gamma, then we tried Gemini, and which is again paid. But again, the OpenAI that they are using right now is the best, and we have option like you can change your models as well.
Okay. So, do you need to do any kind of retraining uh, when you do these model switches, or is it just in a plug and play format where if you find a good, cheaper model, you just sort of change your model and you're good to go?
So they are not optimizing for cheapest model, but it's optimized like so. What our customers want or user want is the best output.
Okay, accuracy is more important.
Accuracy is more important. So right now the GPT is, I think GPT 4 or 5 they are using. It is giving the best accuracy right now. So they don't need to do the rate trading because we have implemented something called retrieval augmented generation for report creation.
That's RAG.
A RAG, yeah. That's a
Re-
RAG framework. So
what's the full form of RAG?
retrieval augmented generation, you can say.
Okay.
So it's a framework so that you don't need to fine tune your LLMs, because
Okay.
fine tuning LLMs is very costly affair, and because you need a lot of data
Mhm.
and you need a lot of compute to fine tune model.
Okay.
You can still do that if you don't have any option, but for the most of the cases, the retrieval augmented generation works really good if you just want to retrieve your data and augment it in a format that you need. And the augmentation and generation can be done by LLMs. Earlier in a classical AI, we have to do the training and fine tuning and continuous learning.
Okay.
Even after the model is deployed, you have to do all this continuous learning so that model can get updated.
Okay. Now you don't need to do that.
Yeah, large extent, lot of applications you don't need to do. You can just use RAG frameworks.
Tell me about the Perplexity Business Fellowship Forum and like how are you associated with it and how is Axia associated with this fellowship program?
So I think couple of months back in February, Perplexity announced a business fellowship for open for all the businesses. I have applied for it, where there were a lot of sessions from Perplexity's top management along with the networking opportunity, and it was a completely online forum. We got an access for their forum, and every week there was different sessions from Arvind Srinivas and other top people of the Perplexity, and you could ask questions about the Perplexity. How can you use Perplexity for your business or in general if you want, and you can network the lot. I have not attended a lot of sessions. I think I have attended only one session, but the main that I got is I met a lot of amazing people from that, and because of that it actually helped me to grow my business as well.
How so?
Yeah, so I've met somebody who is very, I think he's a vice president at Hitachi. He actually got me connected with a lot of banks.
Yes. So that was going to be my next question, which is how can BFSI, banking and financial sector industries, benefit from AI from the point of view of literally just starting out immediately without thinking too much about privacy or any kind of restrictions? What is sort of the lowest hanging fruit that they can attack?
Yeah, so right now, as per my understanding, knowledge, and experience, any bank, and they're already doing that. The customer support bot or customer facing chatbots on their website through the WhatsApp and their applications. They can build those chatbot, connect it with a lot of different services, and instead of just having a static chatbot, they can make it a LLM based or a RAG based chatbot, where if let's say I'm a customer and I want to find my information, and if you see in, if like you guys are also designers, so if you see the Indian designs, even if you go to SBI website, it's the worst website, right? So the design wise it's not really good, it's very cluttered. But I actually like saw one interesting video from one Japanese designer, and she was telling why it is like that. So it actually represents Indian culture.
Mhm.
And in Eastern cultures, the design is like, our culture is more of a interpreted culture. Like if I have to say you something, I don't say it directly. I just it just understood, a lot of things are just understood, right?
Right.
So that's why the design is there. And if you see, lot of times everything in one app works in India, right?
Right.
If you see the Paytm, it's again cluttered.
Right.
So in that way, to make it more simplified uh, and to reduce a lot of employee time, first level engagement can be done with this really good chatbots, which can be custom created, and a lot of banks are already doing that.
But see, again, my personal experience with these chatbots, LLM or no, have been absolutely horrendous. Uh, and I have interacted with, I've gone out of my way to interact with chatbots on the largest corporations, and my experience with them has been so negative because they seem inept to deal with any kind of nuanced requirement. The kind of support that they end up giving is, I would, if it's simply about checking my balance or getting to know some basic information, I am actually faster when I simply log in and go for that information and just look at it myself rather than ask something
Exactly,
like it.
right.
And the moment I go for anything that is even slightly layered, everything just goes for a toss. And the worst part that I've seen is all of these LLMs, all of these chatbots, they seem more like a stonewalling effort than an actual help for the customer. Is it some kind of limitation on the technology side, or is it more of a managerial decision in your experience?
I think it's you are absolutely right, and in fact, I will tell you the story. I met a CIO of Basin Catholic Bank.
Mhm.
It's in Vasai, and it's a small bank, a cooperative bank, and the guy, he actually worked in Microsoft for a couple of years,
Okay.
right? And he's a CIO of that bank. When I told about this, he told me exact same thing, and he was like, "We don't want chatbots
Right.
because this is the but I still think it is a low hanging fruit, because if you actually make it correct
Mhm.
and you define like what are the things that chatbot will do, it will solve the problem. That's what I think. And I think this is, again, you can design it in a way. That's where design is again important,
Right.
not only AI,
Right.
right? And there is again one saying that AI is new UI. So this is a new jargon.
Right. AI is the new UI.
But we can come up to that later. But I think if they are not being implemented properly, and probably that is not a main priority of banks right now. They
Right.
are not seeing it as a priority. But I think that is one of the low hanging fruit. Still, I think, because I have been interacting with a lot of chatbots and on different websites, and I think they are like, they will reduce a lot of problems, right? From my personal thing. Second thing, what I can think is about, it's more of a analytics that they can implement in their backend. They're already doing that,
Mhm.
but
So you're talking about the second type of low-hanging fruit that
yeah, second type of
BFSI
low
can
hanging fruit,
implement for AI.
they can implement these kind of products or agents for their staffs to reduce a lot of manual work.
Okay.
If I can give you an example.
So productivity-based AI
Yeah,
to
right,
help
right.
existing staff, not to reduce head count or something,
Yeah,
simply augment some help for them.
yeah, right. So one of the, like, I think bank in Maharashtra, they have given us like 25 use cases that they want to implement,
Okay.
and lot of them are in the customer like analytics and all that part.
Mhm.
And second thing, which I can say that banks can try, uh, is internal knowledge based searching. Like
Okay.
enterprise search, like if you want to search anything and get things done faster. That's where I think we are also kind of trying to develop, because we are calling it as KMS for now, knowledge management system.
Okay.
There exists knowledge management system right now as well. There are enterprise searches. Elasticsearch is one of them.
Right.
It's very big company actually.
Right.
But I think still there is a differentiator which can be customized and which can differentiate. So we are trying out this as a solution. We are already implementing this for one of our customers, but although not from the banking sector. But it's basically like you can search about anything. You can like it will have agentic layers where like you can get tasks done, not only search the information, uh, and basically save you a lot of time. Like it's like a chat GPT for your enterprise. And it sounds very simple.
Right, because for me, I never sort of understood the need to infuse AI in search, especially on the enterprise front. Mainly because, from my standpoint, the way I look at it, yes, looking for files and data across multiple uh, containers is difficult. Like you have a bunch of SharePoint, then there is your OneDrive, then you have your own computers and systems, plus there are chats and emails, then there is Slack, then there are all of your applications like project manager, like Jira and stuff. And I get it. You need to search across all of these, but like you said, Elasticsearch. So this kind of technology probably like existed pre AI as well. So what is an additional value that AI is providing that was not available before with basic like standard search?
So there are two things. First is only search. You ask for the information, you get the information.
Right. That doesn't need AI
yeah.
as such.
It can be enhanced with
With
applications
or without
RAG
AI.
applications. You can build a RAG. So, for example, if I'm working in a sales department of let's say in bank only, and I have few customers, and I have their data right in a PDF format, let's say.
Okay.
And if I want to search for a specific, if I want to search, for example, there is a customer whose name is like Nikhil. I want to search Nikhil Patil and what are his details.
Right.
So in normal search, you will get the information like the PDF only.
Right.
But if you implement the RAG based search, it will actually go into the document and it will extract that particular answer, and it will give that answer along with the references where the data is coming from.
Okay.
So this is a additional first.
Right.
Second addition can be you can ask the bot or the interface to do certain things for you. Like if you say like do like send them email or do some actions.
Okay.
It's an email action or any other action.
Schedule a meeting, arrange a call, or
these are the
whatever.
basic actions we can add. Like we can create different agents for the different thing, and all these agents will work together. And it will basically save you a lot of time. You don't have to do a lot of things at once.
Okay. And
so this is a concept that we are trying to implement.
Okay.
I can't say if it's 100% working, because AI is also evolving.
Right.
And you need to do, so we are also trying with something called MCP, like Model Context Protocol, along with AI agents.
Okay.
Maybe we can discuss about that as well.
100%. So like before we move to MCP, so so there are two things that sort of these kinds of AI implementations always raise in my mind. One is, how much would it cost? Because when you say that there's a PDF that right now is, let's say, a scan, okay, and right now it's essentially unsearchable because anything inside a scanned PDF means nothing to a search engine, right? But when you say, okay, the AI will go inside the PDF, look at it, and actually help you connect with it, find sources, etc. The way I look at it, it means that every time a document is uploaded on any of these servers, that document is processed by AI, because unless and until it is going to tag it, bag it, and tag it, it's going to be unsearchable.
Yeah, right.
And for something like this, the token consumption sounds very high. So for me, again, when I'm looking at this as a banking decision maker, I think this is one of the, probably, if it isn't, it should probably be one of the biggest concerning points. And I don't know like how you guys address that. So that's one. The second thing is, when you are going for these kinds of implementations, we always hear this talk about agents, like there will be this type of agent, that type of agents, and all the agents will talk with each other. The kind of expertise that is needed to do this kind of orchestration, it is one thing to create a small agent or sort of asking an agent to go and do one task, but to orchestrate a bunch of tasks in line, in sync, in parallel, or whatever, isn't that a lot to ask? And like, how far is an average employee from actually doing it in real life?
So we can think about it like, so first of all, the first part is how can average employee be like differentiated. So this orchestration, we can differentiate between the L1, L2, L3 layers of the
Okay.
customer interaction,
Okay.
right? So lot of the queries, if you see, are at a L1 level, where they will ask frequent questions, same questions.
Okay.
We can automate a lot of the answers,
Mhm.
where we used to give it an FAQ section. We can put it into that.
Okay.
Then again, it won't, I don't think it will work without humans. Humans will be there, employees will need that. So for the L2 and L3 layer, employees can have that. Like once, like if you cut out a lot of L1,
Mhm.
then you have so fewer people of your customers who need actual support of yours. Like they
Okay.
can't make decision, they have to talk with, for example, I had a question like we are trying to open a bank account, and for one query, I like even the sales rep couldn't answer the question, so she had to connect to the manager.
Right.
Like, so you can say this is a L2 or L3 level.
So the escalations, you're saying that we could probably put an escalation matrix in place within these AI agents and within this
Like if
infrastructure.
the AI agent can't answer or can't do the task, it will simply say like, I can't do this. And actually after this I can show you like how the agent is like. That's why I was telling about your Perplexity. So their browser, even the OpenAI has come up with a new browser.
Right. Yeah.
Like if I want to send a LinkedIn message to you,
Mhm.
I can just type it into assistant.
Mhm.
The agent will go on linkedin.com, open my account.
Mhm.
It will search your name.
Okay.
It will type hi message or any message that I want,
Right.
and you will receive that message.
Okay. So it sounds fun, but also very horrendous. I mean, it sounds like a privacy nightmare.
Yeah, so that's why exactly, you're right. And that's why a lot of, if you see even though this browser, so this is a different topic, but if we stick to the previous topic, which is about, like, I just want to clarify that answer. We can differentiate between the different levels and create assistants for all these levels,
Right.
or at least start with the L1.
Right.
And then eventually I'm very sure that it will go through L2 and L3 as well, and there will be always human in the loop approach.
Right.
Will be there.
And I honestly like this answer, and I like this approach mainly because it stands in stark contrast to the whole narrative of AI is going to take away jobs, and people are just firing everyone across the board and giving the excuse. I would say, honestly, it does sound like an excuse that we used AI to remove these jobs, whereas I feel job losses and job gains have been happening a lot over the years. But right now, the difference is typically when you would fire a bunch of employees, your stock would go down, right? But now you get to fire people, say that you're using AI to do that, and your stock really goes up, right? It always sounded difficult for me that looking at the state of AI, I mean, I'm not saying that AI is not working or something, but what humans do is really complicated. I understand that AI can help, but the claim that AI is essentially replacing every human in the chain or replacing swaths of human at one go, it has always sounded a little difficult for me to adjust to. But this sounds good that it is going to start helping people, and maybe we lose jobs, but we might gain jobs in some other faction.
At least I am optimist about that. Job loss will be there, but if people don't change themselves, then they will be like, it's like nobody, like if you have a skill of typing right now, it's going to fade away, right?
Right.
Because you just have to know what to type.
Right.
And like copywriting and all those jobs will still need a creativity, but I think AI is already automating a lot of stuff. Like in the, like, lot because of computers, lot of jobs have been replaced. And when there was a computer revolution happening, a lot of people actually processed it. Even like if you know the story, when the calculator was introduced, people were actually protesting against the calculator.
Is it?
Yeah. You can look at up. Like it's a story.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact year, but when calculators was getting mainstream, there
Right.
was a real protest.
So there were actually human calculators who used to do things, and they're like, we won't cash you out of the business.
Exactly. So this, I think this,
And to us, it sounds absurd right now because we have calculators in our phone now.
like I can do the calculation. Like
Correct.
I
Correct.
don't really remember the tables as well. Like
Oh yeah. Oh no.
so. See, that's the thing. Like in India, like everyone teaches you the table when you're younger. I
True.
hardly remember it till 10. After that, I don't remember.
Yeah. I think I struggle even with that. But anyway, but yeah, it is interesting that way because I think there would be a shift of focus because the things that we take for granted right now used to be monumental back then. I think the same thing is going to happen. A lot of tasks that we deem monumental right now might be taken for granted with the help of AI. But overall, I feel the whole narrative has hurt the AI movement than help it. Like the whole narrative of AI is going to take away jobs. I think that kind of an exaggerated claim has actually caused people's trust in AI to fall. And there was this detailed study that came out in the US which showed that majority of the public does not trust AI or the companies behind AI and the people behind AI because the whole thing seems ill intentioned towards removing humans from the equation. And that I think is going to slow down the AI adoption process. Rather, if it were shown in a manner where it is going to actually help people, which I think it is going to, I think it would have helped the whole narrative much better.
So there are different lot of angles to it. First of all, I think yes, there might be ill intentions from a lot of companies, but I don't think the adoption will be slowed down because the adoption of this technology will actually create a competitive edge for every business. Like
Okay.
I can literally tell you, like the customers that we are working with, the CEO was literally telling me like if we don't do this, and they can see it, like US people are really looking for it. Even though small businesses, they know what how to think in the future. So CEO has literally left everything to the team, and he's now just focusing on next 5 years, what we can do for next 5 years. And he's after seeing all this AI development, and he was telling if we don't do this, we'll really go out of the business.
Okay.
And
So
this was a real statement. So I think adaptation won't get slowed. It will be there. Adaptation will not stop, it will be slowed, or maybe it will have certain pace.
right.
But it won't stop, because if you say this same thing to the internet back in,
Right. Then
if
you
you
look
don't
you look
are
kind of
you if you are
stupid,
not
like
using internet today, you can't
yeah.
do anything, like not even
Absolutely. You can't even go anywhere. I mean, without internet, you can't step out of the house and go to a new place because you don't know how to go, how to find
exactly
directions.
exactly exactly. So I always say, like, we are in the internet age of AI, early internet days.
Right.
And everything slowly, but the second part is, we have to think how can we use it, and use it for the better, and there will be obviously governance and everything will be placed. And I'm not sure how tightly it will be in India,
Right.
but people are at least thinking about it right now. We have a new law as well, new data protection bill, or law 2023.
Okay.
So I think a lot of restrictions on data privacy concerns will be there. But this is like a tsunami. I think it's going to, next 10-20 years, it's going to happen.
Excellent. So, in terms of the implementation that Axia has done, uh, we were talking about the enterprise search part. So, you mentioned that you have worked on a similar project, right? Within that project, what was the biggest benefit that the client witnessed and was extremely happy about?
Yeah, so the biggest benefit that they were happy about is, they could get precise results very fast, and the most importantly, the data is not going out of their organization.
How is that?
Because we are using something called Azure OpenAI. It's a service by Azure Cloud, where you can use the OpenAI instances, but your data will not be used for any kind of training to further training to the models.
Okay. So I think that is one of the biggest questions for
And I think
organizations.
from the functionality standpoint, the biggest was like they got really good answers. Like the project is still going on, but at least at the early stage, they got really precise answer. And being a marketing company, they have a lot of copywriters and all. So
Mhm.
every copywriter used to upload their files, everything in the ChatGPT, and their customers are big pharma companies,
Okay.
right? So
So that data is to anyway
the
flow
data
out.
is very sensitive, that they also told us, if we leak this data, the share prices might go down. So it's
Oh.
that kind
It's
of sensitive.
that.
So
Okay.
enterprise adoption is actually, if you see, enterprise adoption is not really fast at the moment. A lot of
Right.
people are thinking about it. A lot of people are doing pilots,
Right.
right? Because biggest concern is the data privacy.
Right. And we saw even the MIT study, right, that only 95% of projects are not turning into anything fruitful for these companies.
Yeah, so if you read about this, so this study was published by MIT labs, and in a particular project called Nanda project,
Okay.
NNDA, and I think one of the Indian origin scientists are only leading that project. And if you go into it, they are trying to build. I will just tell, the project is very interesting. Like, I have to mention it. They are building an agentic web,
Mhm.
just like an internet. Agents will interact with each other in a simple
Okay.
manner. It's very in a simple way.
Okay.
And they have published this study that in their survey, 95% of the POCs are not going in the production.
Right.
Right. There were a lot of reasons, but the main reasons was they're trying to reduce the cost, and I think the cost is one of the biggest factor. Second reason was they are not using lot of specialized vendors like Axia.
Right.
And the third reason was most of the people who are succeeding were the small companies, and with like people in their 20s who are well versed with the technology.
Right.
Right.
So
So
the-
that was a success.
So the key was to understand technology, understand your company, and firstly figure out which are the parts that actually need or can benefit with AI, rather than just saying this is a cost center, it's very expensive for me, let's put AI in there and reduce the cost. That sort of
They were
does not
trying to
work.
do sales and all other stuff, but instead of, I think, thinking of cost reduction, we should think
Feasibility first.
feasible.
Sort of.
Actually, it depends upon the use case, but if we want to keep it a metric, I think productivity should be the metric. How much productivity
You're adding by these implementations.
we are adding, right? Or this technology will add. And I think it's evolving. Right now, they have just published, and I don't think this is a very, like, we are at a very early stage, and
Right.
we should not draw the conclusion from the one study.
And of course, even that study was sort of seen as a bit flawed in many ways. And I understand both sides of that argument, and it makes sense that because, like you said, it's a very new technology, people don't really know how to deal with that. So it was obvious that these kinds of projects wouldn't necessarily be all that successful, at least in the first 2 years. Or maybe we are also learning, right? And which brings me to the next question. I wanted to understand more about Edge AI because it sounds exciting to the extent that a lot of the worries that these companies have right now is our data is on the cloud. We don't have access to the models themselves. We are not really sure about the privacy. And as you mentioned, there are huge consequences to data leakage of this level. So, how does Edge AI come into this?
Yeah, so we can start with the basics. First, understand what is Edge AI. Edge AI simply means running AI models on edge devices, which means on your local PC without the internet,
Okay.
or with the internet as well, but more or less on device, not on the cloud, not on the cloud servers.
So the model works on that device.
Let's say if you have an iPhone, and Apple is producing those chips which can run the AI models, because Apple's biggest moat is that their privacy. Right. So they want to maintain that privacy and also implement AI. But they are right now struggling. If you see the Apple Intelligence project, it's actually failing project. Like, I don't use Siri.
Yeah.
I never used it because it was anyway dumb, but still.
Right.
Like, if you ask Siri why are you dumb, it still don't answer that question. Like, it can't even do the simple task.
Right.
Now the thing is, once you reach, like, if you implement those AI models within your phone, whatever you're doing, most of the things won't go outside your phone.
Okay.
And even if some tasks have to go outside your phone, there, like, Apple is coming up with the concept of private cloud, where that data will be uploaded to the private cloud, and the response will be coming from the private cloud. So your data is not being used for the further training of that model.
So, have you done any work in the edge AI side of things?
Yeah, so we
implementations?
are kind of in a phase of POCs, and actually I have few friends who are doing edge deployments. So edge deployment is not a new. It's
Okay.
just that you can make this technology work for a in a private way. Like, you have to
So private clouds,
private servers,
on-prem servers.
on premise, you can say.
Okay.
So like, few of my friends are working with Indian Army, Indian Navy. They have deployed some of the image models, or
Right.
even the LLM models for Army. They have been doing POCs. Directly Axia, we are just trying out. We are not, you can say we are halfway there.
Okay.
Because for few projects we are already trying it.
Okay.
Like, but not the LLM, but we are doing one project where we are transcribing the recordings
Okay.
in a locally device, and the audio is not going to save in local and in anywhere. Like, audio is not going to save. It will do the live transcription, and that transcript can be saved in your phone only. And once you connect it with the internet, it will use LLM, and it will refine that transcript so that user can read the transcript afterwards.
Okay. But why in this specific application, why does it matter that the audio is not sent to the cloud?
Because the your customers requirement is that, as they are from the, like, a pharma industry, all these meetings are highly sensitive, and they can't actually record anything. Like,
Okay.
they have to keep
Delete the recording.
everything off. Like, they can't even record anything, like, not audio, video,
Okay.
anything.
Okay.
Right. So but
But they're allowed to keep
they can
transcripts.
store, actually they can store the audio
So in this case, the audio is getting recorded on premise. It is getting transcribed on premise
on the device.
on device. And once the meeting is done, and once you connect to the internet, only the transcription is sent to the cloud for enhancement and checking
Yeah.
if there are any mistakes or filling out the contextual gaps. But the audio is deleted before you even
It is
connect
not
to the
even
server.
saved.
It's not even saved. Okay. So the transcription happens live.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And we have implemented transcription model on device. So application, once you download the app, it will have that transcription model in it.
Got it. So do you need any specific kind of hardware, at least for this application, on your device?
No, not, because the model is not very high, very heavy. It's a normal model only.
Okay.
And whatever the enhancement that we are doing, we are anyway doing it once you connect to the internet, and we are using Azure OpenAI to enhance the transcription.
Okay. So is it like an SLM? Is it like a small language model or
No,
something?
it's not a small, it's a transcription model.
Okay. So it's just a smaller model. It's
not even LLM, it's a transcription model.
Okay.
That's why you don't have very high spec requirement.
Got it. I'm really excited for these kinds of innovations, honestly, because everywhere I see the GPU requirements are high, the waiting lists are long, your prices to run these models are very high. But I think people are overlooking what even small models can do.
Exactly.
Right?
So this is an underrated thing. Like if you really ask a data scientist how much percentage of LLM they are using, like a real data scientist who are like 10 years of experience, they solve a lot of problems with classical machine learning only.
Okay.
Using smaller models, and they actually create their own models. You have a lot of libraries in Python you can use for, you can do the lot of analytics.
Does Axia have any experience dealing with government agencies? How are governments looking at, or at least government departments and ministries looking at AI? Are they looking to adopt, or are they still evaluating things?
I can say they are in process of evaluation.
Okay.
We also, like, I also had meeting with the Ministry of Mining. They are interested, right? But they don't really understand it.
Okay.
And they want to do, but they don't really understand.
Okay.
Right? That's a
So there is a knowledge gap.
There is a knowledge gap, but like few of my friends are still trying out that. They are in a POC phase, you can say that.
Okay.
In simple way. But government is, I think, still bullish on it because they have to bullish on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think government of Maharashtra has also announced some 1 lakh crore rupees for
Fund.
the AI development in Maharashtra.
Okay.
Main is going to like 2 cities. They want to develop these data centers in Navi Mumbai and in Pune.
Got it.
Like, and I think a lot of things will come up soon.
Yeah, I think it's like a 500 megawatt project coming up in
Yeah,
Navi
I
Mumbai.
don't recall the details, but yeah, it's a pretty big project, and a lot of people are actually starting to think about that lines. Probably these data centers will be used to host a lot of AI applications in future.
Right.
Uh, and again, I think government is thinking to like keep Indian data in India.
Right. That is important, obviously.
Yeah, so just to give you an example, we have done one POC for the government entity, and so basically the problem statement was they have a lot of old documents since 1950s, sorry 1850s in fact,
Okay.
from like 200 years back, and now they want to digitize all the documents.
Okay.
Now, how can they do that? So to do it manually, it's extremely costly. You have to sit with a lot of people
Right.
and digitize everything. So they wanted to implement. Our customer, who is actually a government contractor, they wanted to implement this, and we did a small POC for them where they have given us a lot of different documents, handwritten as well as the structured document, scanned copies, sometimes not even clear copies, and they want to digitize all this data. And you can say they have huge amount of, in a terabytes they have a data, if you say think about 200 years of documentation.
So these are all like scanned images.
Scanned images, printed images. So this is a kind of a big project. The small part is to convert them into digital. So that's where we were trying to use optical character recognition technology.
OCR.
It's OCR, you can say in short form. It's a OCR technology where if you have used any like image search or even in Google, you can extract the characters from any page of the documents and save it in the proper format. We actually have developed our own models for that. We were able to accurately extract almost around more than 90% of the information, and there are two ways to it. So OCR is not a new technology. It's been there since last almost 10 years. But the point is, it's actually way better now because there is something called vision language models.
Okay.
Where LLMs, but they just have the eyes to see. You can, in a
Okay.
layman terms,
Okay.
LLMs where they can see
Right.
the natural objects, and coupling up them with the traditional OCR models. Once you combine both of this, you will get results which are extremely good. Because how they come up with this, like they were trying to digitize it, and some of them like tried to put it in the ChatGPT, and ChatGPT has a VLM support.
Okay.
It can actually extract a lot of information properly, and they were really mind blown by this.
Okay.
And they were like, we want to do it at scale.
Right.
And that's where we did that, and maybe I can share some samples with you.
Sure. So when you are doing these kinds of projects, one of the worries that I generally have is whenever someone says we have more than 90% of accuracy, or even 94, or even 98. Okay. So there are two questions that come to mind. One is, what about the 2%? Or to be more specific, what is there a trend in a certain type of data that doesn't really make it accurately into the final draft? So is there like a pattern into why that 2% is specific, or is it that this 2% is like pretty random, and one might have to go back and look at everything and compare apples and apples to make sure that the accuracy is like 100%? So how is government or any entity supposed to deal with that missing link? Because when you're talking about digitizing government documents, these are probably land deals, sizes, specs, which could cost real people in crores or more than that, just because there was a mismatch or a mistake. So how do you like propose to deal with that?
Yeah, so first of all, never expect 100% accuracy from any kind of AI model.
Okay.
Like even human can't do that.
Okay.
So so we have a human in the loop approach,
Mhm.
where we will give because even if we do the 95% accurately, we are saving a lot of their time,
Okay.
right? Because they don't have to go.
Right.
Now, the blocks where the 5%
Mhm.
left is, lot of times the documents are like, even you can't read them properly. You
Okay.
don't know what is written in that.
Right.
If there is a S or
So even a human is not able to discern.
yeah, exactly.
So why are we expecting a machine
Exactly.
to
So
discern?
that is a first problem.
Right.
A lot of time, it's very cluttered document.
Okay.
If there is a scanned copy, the copy of copy, lot of times it's there. Like, if I'm scanning my Aadhaar card in Xerox machine, then I'm taking Xerox of that Xerox, which is
Right.
making the data more worst.
Reduces in quality. Yeah.
Yeah, reduce in quality, right? So this is like, I can say 2 to 5% or even 8%, depending
Okay.
upon which method are you using.
Okay.
And even if you even use the Google's API or Amazon's API, they also have this, like, they can give 98%, and they have defined documents. Like,
Mhm.
if you say, like, there are some documents, let's say, you can actually buy the APIs for different use cases.
Mhm.
Let's say if you want to OCR only identity related documents, you can get KYC API.
Okay.
And through the KYC API, everything can be done. You have to put Aadhaar card, PAN card, whatever the cards are there,
Whatever you're looking
and
to.
you can get all full tech stack
Mhm.
and use it for the
Just for that specific use case or that kind of
that specific use
document.
case.
Whatever is left within that, are there certain patterns where everything is fine, the document is legible and everything, but still the models are not able to do the OCR properly? Are there any particular trends of issues that you
Yeah,
see?
so it means that you have not trained the model properly on the proper data,
Okay.
right? So what goes in goes out, right?
Right.
So if you don't have proper training data,
Mhm.
your model can't predict anything properly
Got it.
if it can't learn the proper way.
Makes
So I
sense.
think a lot of times in the classical AI,
Mhm.
that's why there was a lot of bottleneck in
Right.
using AI, because you have to use a lot of data, you have to annotate a lot of data, and I know you must have done, like, you have done a lot
Oh,
of
yeah,
work
we
in
have
that,
done our
right?
fair share of
Yeah, exactly.
data annotation. Yeah.
So it was a tedious task,
Right.
but right now it's not that, because like, if you think about it, we are producing huge amount of data every day, which we have not even produced in entire human history,
Right.
right? So the data is not a problem right now. The right data is a problem. Like, you have to have right data too. Even the LLMs are uh, really biased, if you think about it.
Mhm.
And that's why, again, trust factor is there. A lot of people are not trusting it because they are biased, right? And you have to put guardrails to for certain questions or answers.
Right.
Like, if you have used DeepSeek in the initial days,
Mhm.
if you ask anything to DeepSeek about China,
Mhm.
it will refrain from answering. And I've actually asked question to DeepSeek:
Mhm.
is Arunachal Pradesh part of India?
Right.
It started giving answer like Arunachal Pradesh is a part of India. It's a sovereign, like, it's a part of
Part
India.
of sovereign
And
India.
suddenly it stopped, and
Okay.
it answered like, I can't give the answer to this question.
And it's very interesting you would say that, because on one side, technology, or rather the modern information technology, has always been served to us in a very deterministic format. Like, for example, calculators, like you mentioned, we were told that a calculator will never go wrong. A human calculator might, but a computer based calculator, the one that works on microchips, will never go wrong, right? And that's what we are used to. So I think even
Which is again not
softwares,
true, really. Like,
probably 100%, there are exceptions and outlier, but it's true to such a large degree that the smallest of percentage of a bit flip doesn't really matter all that much to the world at large, right? Even the same goes with accounting softwares or CRMs and ERPs. We know for a fact that humans used to forget calling people, but now you don't, because everything is automated. You get your reminders on your CRMs. And maybe that is what the entire target market is used to. We are sort of used to this very robotic output of having everything on time, as expected, as predicted. And all of a sudden, this new technology is coming in, which is very human-esque in its own execution. So I think we are going to have to rewire our expectations around that part as well.
Yeah, I think it's a part of adoption. It will happen, I think, slowly we'll understand how to use it.
What would you tell someone joining the IT industry right now? What would be your message to them in terms of what they should learn, what they should work upon, what they should focus on, and what they should ignore?
I think first of all, they should not think too much about job loss.
Mhm.
Start from the basics. Learn basics, whatever they teach, and they teach in your school curriculum or college curriculum. Then try to meet with people who are actually on field. You can really connect with them on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
And from my experience, a lot of people are vocal. They will share stories with you.
Mhm.
They will tell you what to do, what not to do. There are a lot of channels which you can search upon. I can
Okay.
also probably give some links
Yeah,
where
sure.
I've learned from, right? And try to do practical work. If you are
Okay.
in college, try to build practical projects.
Mhm.
Even if you're copying the project from YouTube, copy properly.
Okay.
Like हिंदी जैसे नकल को भी अकल चाहिए होती है, तो you have to do that properly,
Right.
because you have to understand what you have copied and why that particular thing they did, why they did, right?
So basically bring intention into the front and center of every activity that you do.
Yeah, so yeah, right, so that is first thing. Second thing, for like if you are looking for some job or something, if you have a experience of doing practical projects, hosting them end-to-end projects, then it's easy for you to get an internship. And I would suggest uh, try to do internship in a small scale startup or something, at least for the start, because there you will learn things to do by yourself, because they don't have a lot of big teams. A lot of times you have to do by yourself, you have to learn. So you will learn a lot of things, and there are a lot of websites where you can find jobs in startups.
Right.
That is, or in even an internship. Second, if you're not like, you have to learn how to use like if you're a coder, you have to learn how to use the newest IDs like Cursor.
Okay.
Because in our company, Cursor is actually replacing 2-3 interns. We don't need interns now,
Okay.
because our mid level or senior level developers, they are using Cursor.
Mhm.
They don't need any help.
Okay.
They are just there, whatever Cursor is producing, they just want to
Double
rectify
check.
the problems, and there's lot of time is reduced. So in a way, job loss is there,
Okay.
but you have to be adaptable to that. And second thing, you have to focus on the soft skills a lot.
Okay.
Soft skill can be as simple as communication skill.
Mhm.
You need to learn how to communicate with different stakeholders.
Okay.
And if you are not the coder, you can go into the different roles like project manager, or even the IT sales, or a product manager,
Mhm.
right? Where you have to interact with people, because these roles are something that I don't think will go away.
Okay.
Even the software, I'm very skeptical. The software role is already going away.
Okay.
We don't have single intern right now.
Okay. But you still need project managers. You need still
Yeah, project
people
manager is
facing-
highly valued, because I don't have time to look at every project. As we grow, we will need few project manager. They are using AI tools, obviously, but our customers will only trust humans.
I've seen so many memes sort of berating project managers because they don't necessarily understand coding, but they end up giving sort of unrealistic expectations.
That's I think that is a reality as well. But again, it was a joke part. But if you think about any project or product without a manager, the product doesn't go through.
Right. So they are the humans in the loop, essentially, humanizing the experience for the client side.
Yeah, and you don't have to learn coding in detail, but you need to have a basic idea and a functional idea of what to do.
Right. What are the things that a young person should look for in an internship? A specific company or the team or the software?
So basics first. You should look where you will get get to do a lot of things hands-on,
Okay.
even if it is not your role, because that will actually teach you a lot of humbleness and dedication if you want to get the things done fast. Second, you have to obviously learn about the company, what they are doing. And as a starting point, I don't think you should think too much about the industry.
Okay.
At least I've got this advice, and I think which is really good advice, that initial 2, 3, 5 years of your career, you can be a generalist. I think generalist will have a more edge
Right.
on the specialist, because for like right now we have a AI which is a narrow, which is a specialist AI, right? So we might end up with building a lot of specialist AI,
Okay.
but we will need generalist who can adapt to a lot of things.
All right.
Like, so you have to be adaptable.
Right.
Even if you are a generalist, even if you are a specialist, you have to be a generalist. So like jack of all trades, master of one. This to be
That's
there.
the approach that you would advise.
Not the jack of all trades, master of none.
Got it. Got it. So you have to have a generalist attitude. At the same time, you have to spend your life to sort of develop speciality in one sector.
Yeah, I
or
think
one
that is
implementation.
optional, because it depends if you want to do a specialty or something.
Right.
But generally, someone who can be like, it's like an all-rounder in a cricket.
Right. Right. Got it. And they will always be in higher demand compared to a specialist.
I think going forward there will be a higher demand, because as a let's say, even if I'm hiring an engineer, I will see what else that person can do apart from their core job.
Got it. So on the other side of this same equation, companies are now really afraid or sort of, I would say, skeptical of the upcoming generation, right? And I don't see this as anything new, because the way I see it, like looking back, every older generation has always looked down on the next generation, because, well, the older generation tries to make things better for the younger generation, and the younger generation in turn lives life within that easier reality, but the older generation hates them for it, and which they have created, right? I mean, the whole intention was to give your kids a better future. Now they're living in that better future, but you don't like the way they are living it. So I think that sort of is an old news. But even still, I want to understand, what are the things that the current generations of business owners, startup founders, company owners can do? What are the things that they can do right so as to attract the newer generation into these companies?
From my experience, is treating them better,
Okay.
and really talking with them, and treat them as one of your team member and not the employee.
Okay.
You have to give them a purpose and actually join your purpose with their purpose,
Okay.
because this generation is not coming only for the money, because they are coming from the abundance. Even in India, if you think about India, I don't know how relevant it is, but in at least tier 1 India, people are pretty much coming, like students or some, these people are coming from abundance. They don't have a scarcity at their home.
Okay. Right.
Because their fathers and their previous generation had did a lot of things that they can even live for several years, or they won't starve, like that's about.
Right.
So they don't have a survival instinct. But now they have, what they have is a lack of purpose,
Okay.
right? So if you can provide them a purpose, or you can join their purpose with your purpose or your company's purpose, I think they will thrive. And again, respecting their time is also an important thing. And going ahead from, I think company structure is going to be changed. Like, there won't be 1,000 people, lakh people company. Companies will be like a bouquet, or a book. You can say like a small companies, boutique, not a bouquet. Sorry, boutique companies where they will have small teams from 20 to 50 people, or even less. And even like there is an idea of single person $1 billion company.
Oh yeah, that
If you think about Cursor, like I was talking, the Cursor is a almost $1 billion company, more than that actually, and they don't have more. I don't think they have more than 50 employees. They have a very small team.
Even WhatsApp in its
Yeah, that's even the OpenAI, like they had 200 people when they actually.
For that matter, Nvidia has a very skewed proportion of number of people versus its valuation. So they are sort of
So and my vision is also, I don't want to just increase the headcount, because right now company's success is not seen from how much headcounts you have. Like earlier it used to be like that.
Right.
Tata has a lot of employees, so Tata is a bigger company. Reliance has a lot of. So I think it will be, because India is also going to be a product nation going ahead. We were a service nation, and still at a lot of extent we are.
Absolutely.
But a lot of people that I know, even in the popular culture, you see they are trying to create their IPs. So if you have a IP, then basically your business is running on that IP or a moat, right? So teams will be smaller, and I think this culture will change. Like there will be a familiar culture. Team will actually work like a team, because once you're a smaller team, you don't have a lot of politics in it.
True, true, true. And lastly, I want to ask, is there a specific industry that you feel would benefit the most out of AI in the next 5 years?
Yeah. So there are a couple of industries that I think. First is finance, and then second is healthcare.
Okay.
Uh, the reason is healthcare has, like, I will talk about finance. Why I'm bullish on finance is because financial firms have a lot of structured data, and they are technologically adapted
Very savvy.
species. You can say that they are a tech savvy. You have a fintech revolution in India. We have everything now. They are talking about agentic UPI. Like if you heard, like there was a GFF happened this year, right?
Right, yeah.
And they actually unveiled the concept where UPI and all the transaction can be done within the ChatGPT using agentic AI. So I think finance has already started adoption very fast, and
Right.
because they already have the backbone of the proper data, they will be the most who will be at least starting to adopt.
Okay.
I'm not sure about the financial and profitability, because that is still a question,
Right.
right?
But I think just the fact that they're experimenting and the fact that they have structured data, I think it does give them an edge to be able to experiment with something like AI, which really thrives.
Because
in
you need a lot of
structured
data to customize AI. And
Right.
second thing, this healthcare industry, I think healthcare will have a lot of benefits, because a lot of innovations are coming in terms of remote operations and all, right?
Okay.
You can do the remote operations, remote
Right.
surgeries, diagnosis, because again they have proper structured data. If you think about the diagnosis, if you put your x-rays, maybe old x-rays or any sample x-ray in ChatGPT, it will actually perform better, and it has been actually performing better than a diagnostic or a doctor. A lot of
Right.
times there are research about it.
Yes. So actually, 100%. I mean, we have worked on such kind of projects where X-rays, CT scans, etc., stills of those, they have been annotated by us like in bulk, and obviously that has been used somewhere for training, right? And I think yes, there are reports of people getting much better results out of these AI applications. So 100%. So diagnostics is one space that you feel.
Yeah, because I can see, like, even from our customers, a few of them are like in finance, as well as we are working actively with healthcare,
Right.
pharma and all, right? And I think the probably after that, so are you like in terms of beneficial, are you talking about the profitability or the adaptability?
Uh, Either way, I think one sort of pulls the other, right? If it is practically like financially beneficial, the adoption will be there, and vice versa is true. If there is a lot of adoption, I think profitability can be figured out. So they sort of, I think,
I
go
think
hand.
these two industries kind of works like for both of these. Like
Right.
adaptation is there, and yeah, I think these two, and then there are manufacturing and all. But I think India is also not very manufacturing savvy right now. But if you think about overall world, AI is already being adapted in manufacturing, backend, and logistics in a lot of industries right now as well. Lot of countries, sorry, right now. If you see Amazon, they have a lot of automated warehouses.
Yes, already.
Lot of factories are completely automated. So
Right.
manufacturing, I think third sector which can be, but it will be a combination of robotics, IoT, and AI.
Right. And obviously, manufactured is actually very fragmented and splintered in the way every sort of industry works, right? Manufacturing might be one single thing, but the way clothes are manufactured is very different from the way let's say, silicon chips or toys are manufactured. So I think the implementation there is very vertical focused. So there's that part as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, just recently, I think we all saw that Sam Altman has essentially given a code red within OpenAI. I think the news leaked about this memo of his that he sent in across all the OpenAI staff, that they have sort of issued a red alert in terms of how Gemini is outperforming ChatGPT. So, what do you make of this? Like, do you look at it as the start of the end for OpenAI, or do you think that OpenAI still has a lot of steam left to try and overtake Google essentially at this point?
I think both of them will thrive
Okay.
because OpenAI has a backing of Microsoft.
Yeah.
But Google will definitely have a lot of advantage because Google has entire AI stack of their own,
Uh-huh.
and they don't use GPUs. Like, if you know, they use TPUs.
TPUs, yeah.
There is a tensor processing unit, and
Right.
tensors are nothing but vectors only that we were discussing about.
Right.
Right. So and Google also has a extremely great distribution
Amazing.
and the data.
Right.
So you have all the stack. You have a lot of data of entire world, and essentially all the 98% of the internet.
Right.
Then you have a physical hardware.
Right.
You have a talent, and what do you need now? You also have a cloud infrastructure
Right.
to support everything. You
Support
have a lot
all
of
of
money.
that. Right.
So everything is there.
Is aligned, yeah.
But if Google doesn't really do it properly, then probably, because OpenAI is in a kind of threat. But I think Perplexity could be a game changer over here, because if you think about the AI product point of view, so there are different business models that you can draw out of AI.
Mhm.
First is where you essentially develop the foundational models,
Mhm.
and you which requires a lot of money,
Right.
as well as a lot of research efforts for a lot of, like, if you see, OpenAI actually started in 2016,
Right.
right? And they actually got their breakthrough in 2023, right? 2022, 2023,
Yeah.
right? So all this year they were just investing, and still they are not profitable. The second layer of product that I think will come up with the companies like Perplexity,
Okay.
who don't have their own models. They although have a sonar model, but it's still not up.
It's not supposed to really be competing with these
Yeah.
large
So they
guys.
have, but they have really built. Like, if you go into Perplexity, if you use their enterprise planning, you can use all the models from all these companies.
Right.
So models has become a commodity. Any big company can compete with each other with creating the models and all.
Right.
That's not an issue, right? But Perplexity is kind of making it useful for like applied side of, yeah, and they are doing it in a consumer AI, you can say, consumer software.
I think they are more into distribution, AI distribution, I feel, with their browsers and the way they operate in terms of you being able to use them as the front end while putting all the foundational models in the back end. But especially in terms of
Simplifying search
simplifying search, 100%.
more than Google.
Right. But I feel that Perplexity also sort of has their work cut out for them, mainly because I feel that right now the cost part of the whole equation is still to be passed on to the consumer, because almost all of these companies are giving these free versions which are more or less enough for a average Joe to make sense out of or use it for their day-to-day basis, right? And we have not yet started to see a lot of ads. uh, OpenAI just recently rolled out the e-commerce shopping assistant feature, and I think that got them decent amount of revenue. But it still has to get better for them to have a consistent stream, right? So that's one part, and I think additionally, once all of these companies start to figure out that, okay, boss, we need to start making money, and either they put the gates up, like they start charging companies like Perplexity, who will obviously have to charge the end consumer. I think there is a huge threat that Perplexity's business model might break down, because right now I don't think there isn't one. Like, there's no business model in any of the AI companies. They're right now in their growth phase. So I think that we'll see, like, if there is.
Yeah, I think it's still early, like, to comment, because I think there will be a subscription model.
Yeah, it has to be, right?
Because
Because it's very
ads
expensive.
model will go down, because it's already like there are reports that Google's ads are not really performing as
Mhm.
good as they used to like 5 years back.
Yeah, but their ads revenue has increased over the last couple of quarters. I mean, there was a real fear that ChatGPT would take their place, but apparently it's very difficult to build an ad stack, or at least an ad stack that's as mature as Facebook or Google's ad stacks. And with this red alert, apparently OpenAI has put the whole monetization thing on their back burner because they want to make sure they get better first and maintain their market share rather than have a business model but lose the market share. So
Yeah, say I think it's a interesting thing to observe.
yeah, let's see. I mean, right now, I think most of the end users are going to be winners, so long as they start getting bills from these companies. So let's see how it goes. But yeah, I think overall for companies, this is a great time to start looking at uh, companies like you to bring them over, bring specific expertise. And I think one of the first things that large organizations between, say, 100 and 500 or 1,000 employees should do is bring up people like you and pay you not for developing applications, but start by paying you to figure out what kind of AI is going to help them the most, and probably spend a good 3, 6 months, 9 months, even 12 months, depending on the size of the company, in simply letting you assess their situation and give them an actual path forward in AI development before just jumping into saying, build a chatbot for us or something.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Use case discovery is still a challenge.
yeah.
Although a lot of our work is depending, like we try to filter out customers who have idea in mind
Mhm.
and then work with it. But I have advisors, or you can say people in my network who are just consulting to
Right.
figure out the use cases.
Yes. So that I think is the key takeaway here for all business decision makers is bring in experts to find out and understand your needs, your AI needs first before jumping into an AI project just for the vanity sake of it.
Yeah, exactly right. So for the leaders, what I can say is, leaders should first of all start for the basics, learn about it, bring in the expert, because leaders don't have time to learn by themselves.
Right.
Let the experts do their work, and I'm really sure like experts can bring really good value to the company. Start
Excellent.
with the POC.
Yeah. So yeah. So Shreyas, it was an absolute pleasure to have you, and we really sort of look forward to learning more about all the things that you do, all the products that you guys sort of roll out in the future. Uh, if you would like to share the website that people should go to, or any other sort of place that people should go to learn more about you, if you have a YouTube channel, Instagram, whatever, you can like tell our audience right now.
Yeah, so right now we only have our website, but we are soon coming up with the YouTube channel,
Okay.
and in there we are planning to actually roll out videos to educate enterprise leaders,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which will be focused only on the personalized leaders, and CXOs will learn what are the implementations. We'll share our success stories over there, and once it's live, I will obviously share the link with you as well.
Excellent.
Right now, you can go to the website, and otherwise you can get in touch with us. We'll
Lovely. We'll put the URL right down there. And
yeah.
are you there on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I'm there on LinkedIn.
Excellent. So we'll put the LinkedIn URL for Shreyas's profile as well. And that's it for today. We look forward to bringing more such established guests, people who are building something right now for the future. And thank you so much for spending so much time watching this video. Bye. Have a nice day.